Let's check them out. I think they're going on stage, so we're gonna go follow them like stalkers, like legit stalkers, because this is for the kids.
I see so many wonderful, friendly faces, like Molly Martin over there from Philly, Lane Line. We got Chicago in the house somewhere. That's last year at Gemba, Chicago won our hearts because they cheered on every band. They were amazing. We have most of our guys over there. First off, everybody, I just want to thank all of you for making this trek coming here to Summerfest to Gemba with us. I applaud all of you and know how much hard work it takes to get out there and corral all these kids and bring them out here and seeing them just give it all on the stage is incredible. I want us all to remember that we're just one big family. We're here to support each other, we're here to watch each other, we're here to learn from each other, we're here to learn from the scenes. And something really special is that you're going to get to interact with some of these judges here, we're going to be judging the students. I just wanted to bring you up, what I think is amazing is every one of these guys is so gracious. They've worked with School of Rock in some way, they've done workshops, they've worked with the kids that play the game, and it's awesome to have them here with us. We're honored to it. So I want to give them a very warm welcome. I'm going to bring you up on my way to introduce him. I'm going to start with somebody who I've known now for 8 years. He's been amazing for the program. He's done shows together, workshops, open schools. We know him as David Bowie's guitar player. Mr. Earl Slick. Give it up for Earl. Very good. I think it was 7 years. Our next judge is someone who's worked with us. He's been incredible, happens to live right near us. We know him as the writer of one of the most amazing songs ever, Eye of the Tiger, Mr. Peterik. Nobody likes purple like Jim. Bring up someone who's worked in our schools in Nashville. He's a drummer for one of the biggest country acts in the world. Mr. Rich Beckman, drummer from Jason Aldean. Our next guest judge, another guy who is just so amazing to work with. Came out from a recording session and worked with our kids up in Portland when they were doing the Best of Portland show. From an incredibly hot band, Portugal the Man, Mr. Zach Carothers. The next very, very special guest judge is someone who is really the reason I even work at School of Rock. He has one of the greatest musicians I've ever known. You know him for playing with Tom Morello, Perry Farrell. You can see him playing with Slash. He's been transcribing stuff for the E Street Band right now. Carl Restivo, bring up Carl. Come on, Carl. Another artist I got to hang out with in Milwaukee, New Jersey. We talked about some crazy music stuff. He helped us with our metal camp. You know him from Rob Halford's band. Metal Mike! Our next guest judge, I'm going to bring up a special order. He's been someone that's been working with our schools, especially around the Chicago area. Really honored to have him here. He knows music from Life of Pi. He also just interviewed Ringo Starr last night, which is pretty incredible. Mr. Damon Ranger. Our next guest judge is someone I've had the honor of working with for quite a few years. He's been responsible for bringing artists into our schools, like Josh Homme from Kings and Stone Age, the guys from Mastodon. He's brought us Matt Cameron from Pearl Jam. I can't even name how many artists this guy's brought to us. He's been a great friend to the program. He's in a hot-ass punk band called Off. And his name is Dimitri Coates. Certainly, we are so honored to have a legend with us tonight. I want you guys to make some crazy noise. From the legendary Stooges, Mr. James Williamson. Let's hear it one more time for our amazing judges. Out there, put the show down. For all you parents coming, trucking all around Milwaukee. And more than anything, give it up for these incredible kids. Please make some noise for the school block. We can't wait to see you on the stages at Summerfest tomorrow. We're going to rock this. I'm going to turn it over. We've got many more bands to come. One of our all-star music directors, Zeke. Is your band ready? Are they ready to come out? All right, guys. Let's make some crazy noise for Seattle. Thank you all. We'll see you on the stages tomorrow. Peace. Thank you.
We know it's authentic.
It's authentic. We have a recording of it.
How are you?
Yeah, you just ask at the window. Oh, for this? Did we get everybody? Except for Steve-O? They're just going, we're getting them in the, but, so you still, yeah,
Who wouldn't want that guitar? Seriously.
Oh, he's here. Hey, Carl. Come sign real quick.
Sign and get her.
Cool. Right there, bud. Just take up the whole pick guard now. He's doing pick guard.
Room for Jim Peterik.
Yes.
Yeah. Just for later when this runs out. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
That is insane. Is it not? That is so cool.
Audio's up. And you're on.
On camera?
Yep.
Hey everybody, we're coming to you live from A-Loft, is that how they say it? A-Loft. We are waiting for our rockstar judges to come in so that they can tell us about their experience at Gemba, and of course we're going to ask them questions about, you know, being a rock star, musical education. But I actually have been in this room all day setting this up for you with John. I was just kind of like the woman on the side. John did most of the setup. So to explain what happened today, I'm going to have someone that was actually there do that. So we have Linda Hefferman again. Linda, how did today go?
Which camera should I be looking at, by the way?
That one.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. So today we had 59 bands from 33 schools and 15 states that each played 12 minutes of music on one of 5 stages at, I'm just going to say it, Summerfest in Milwaukee, which is the world's largest music festival. And what happened was each of those bands played in front of 2 celebrity rock star judges, basically. And what the judges did is they judged them on different aspects, you know, performance, musicianship, how they work together as a band, as well as whether they had that special magic. It's that little bit that nobody can really define what it is, but when you see it, you recognize it. So they tallied up, they judged all of the bands that they saw. So each of the judges saw about 8 to 10 bands, and those were heats. And what they do is they pick one winner from each of those heats that automatically advances to the finals. So there were 6 heats altogether. So there are 6 bands that advance to the finals. And then those bands have the option of playing again tomorrow, but they don't have to. They already are in the finals. And then tomorrow, of the remaining bands, they are going to choose another winner from each of the heats, so each of the stages that's going to advance to the finals as well. And then from 5 to 7, they're going to battle it out for the Great Gong of Gemba. So they're going to play on the biggest stage that's in the festival grounds. It's the BMO Harris stage. It's huge, really big with the lake in the background. And they're going to get to.
Are we supposed to come here?
Yes, that's right.
So
Come
let me show
on.
these guys, because you know,
Are they all out in the lobby?
Not all yet.
Okay, all right. Well, come on in.
Come.
Actually, come sit down here. This is actually your area here.
Okay.
This section. So go ahead and grab some water if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
Hey, should I go tell? Because there's one more person.
Yeah,
in the
sure.
lobby.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Thank
Hey,
you.
Mike. Stop. Hey.
So here they come.
Oh my gosh,
Come.
here they come.
How you doing?
Hi.
Good to see
Thank
you.
you so much.
And this is,
Alex,
hi Alex, Jim.
you look just like your picture on the internet.
I hope so.
They got it spot
Got
on.
it right on. That's cool.
So have a seat if you'd like to get some water.
Yeah, I think I would.
Okay, go
actually.
ahead. There's some water
Who's this
right
guy?
back here.
What's your name? John. Oh, yeah, John. Yeah, nice to see you.
Go ahead. There's
Yeah.
water in the back there.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm just kind of filling people in on what went on today and as we're getting people started.
It's starting. It's starting.
Yes, yes. And I'm going to let Jim introduce himself.
Yes.
So anyway, tomorrow, all of the bands are going to play again, except for the ones who automatically advanced have the option of playing or not playing. And then from 5 to 7, all 12 of the bands are going to play, and there's going to be some finalists and then a final winner. And they'll take home the great gong of Gemba and be the Gemba band.
So real quick, you walked in here super excited earlier
Yes,
today.
I did.
You want to share why?
Yes. Okay, so let me tell you who advanced automatically to the finals. There were 3 bands from Chatham, New Jersey, and the musicianship in that school is unbelievable. They brought 5 bands. They have 3 bands that advanced to the finals. They're absolutely incredible. They have sax players and horn players. And those kids are they're just pros. I mean, they're so polished. So 3 of them, 1 from Chicago. Chicago has an amazing, just an amazing energy among them. Like anytime any kids are on stage, Chicago is up front and they are cheering on every single kid. And a lot of times they have their arms around each other. It's really a beautiful thing. So we got a band from Chicago that advanced, and Germantown, Tennessee, which is one of our newer schools. So that was really, really exciting. They're really bringing the rock.
They were their guitarist won the.
Oh, that was the Chicago.
Oh, that was Chicago.
Yeah, that was one
Okay.
of the Chicago
Okay.
kids. And then the other one that I'm particularly
Hello.
proud of is my kids from Portland, Oregon, who brought their own band with their own original music, and they advanced. They advanced
They
to the
did.
finals. They did.
Great.
Yes.
Congrats.
Yeah. And here's a really precious thing that happened today. One of the kids that won, the guitar player, I remember 5 years ago when he started at School of Rock, and he walked in. He's a little guy. Come on in, Zach. Get some water if you'd like.
Oh, I'm cool.
Take a seat.
And I'm going to move out of this section actually in a minute. I'm just kind of filling people in on what happened today. But when this kid walked into School of Rock, Portland, for the very first time with his guitar, he'd been taking lessons for a little while, there was a look on his face which was, I have just walked into heaven. And he walked around like that for the longest time. Like, he just was there. We had to kick him out at night. It's like, Evan, where's your grandmother? You know, it's like he wanted to just be there all the time. And when I saw the kids' faces today, when it was announced that they had advanced to the finals, I saw that same look on his face. And I just practically started to cry because I'm like, it's just like, wait, this is heaven again. Because they came to play. They didn't come to win. They came to play. And they said before when I was talking to them that they really wanted to just have a great time, show people what they had. Right. And they were here last year as a very immature band. You know, they'd only been playing together for a little while. So they've had a year, they've been recording, they've been writing stuff, and they've really gelled. That's so it's very cool.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give up this seat here and move over to the audience. And
Linda, could you take this somewhere? I didn't need to prepare it.
Yes, I definitely can.
Thanks.
You didn't want to take notes while
Well,
I should take notes.
I was actually writing a song, and I'm gonna take a break.
Oh, there we go.
That's so cool.
Yeah, this
We'll put it right
I
over
know.
here.
Yeah,
Jim.
it's good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Just got to
just
shut it
duck
off.
out and see if there's anybody else out there that's.
but Real Slick and I are writing a song. We're long distance. And
Well, again, we are live at Gemba 2014, and we are talking to all of these awesome rock star judges. And originally, you know, guys, I was going to introduce you. Again, this is super informal. This is internet TV, so
Okay.
feel free to be yourselves, you know.
I
Chill
can't be
out.
anyone else.
Yeah.
Can't be anyone else. Good answer. So I was going to introduce all of you, but I feel like you would do such a better job introducing yourselves, and I don't want to leave any of your amazing accomplishments out. So, Metal Mike, do you want to start? Just introduce yourself to the audience for people that possibly don't know who you are.
Oh, sure. So I'm Middle Mike. I was born in Poland,
Which
came
is
to the United
awesome.
States in '84. And I'm a heavy metal guitar player, true and tried. And I've played outside of my soloist music. I've played with Rob Halford from Judas Priest, which is kind of my ongoing long-term boss. And I've played in a Bay Area thrash band Testament. I've played with a Skid Row singer, Sebastian Bach. Recorded with Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses and Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. And I'm working currently with Jim Brewer from Saturday Night Live, and I record crazy guitar instructional DVDs for the new generation of metalers. So
That's awesome. And real quick, because I think it's interesting, how did you get the title Metal Mike?
oh, the title was given to me by Rob Halford. And when we were writing music for the first record of Halford for the record called Resurrection, I would write the riffs. And for me, as a heavy metal guitarist, a riff is not good enough until it makes me want to headbang immediately. So I tried it out for the
You tried
audience.
it, yeah.
So and he's like, man, Rob was like, this is the greatest thing, because even in the rehearsal, you know, unless I feel it completely into it, it's not good enough, you know. So he used to call me Metal Mike, and I knew a lot about heavy metal bands from Europe. So when we were writing, I would always fill him in on what's happening overseas and all that, and so he named me that, and so I kept it. Of course, it's like being knighted by Rob Halford.
Sir Metal Mike.
That is so awesome. All right, Jim Peterik,
Yeah.
you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. You know, a man of rock since I was 3 years old. Picked up the ukulele when I was 4. My sisters taught me, and then me and the uke were inseparable until I got my first electric guitar, and then that was it. I mean, the Ventures, all the instrumental surf groups I loved, and then the Beatles came along and changed my life. And formed a group called the Ides of March in high school. Had our first hit record in '66 when I was 15, when all the band members were like 16. And it was called You Wouldn't Listen. Traveled around the country with what became the Allman Brothers. At that time it was called the Allman Joys. And did a lot of shows. And then we kind of didn't have hits until '70. We added the brass, and we had a big record called Vehicle, which became the fastest selling record in Warner Brothers history. Then, what a great year to have a #1 record. We were on the road with Led Zeppelin and Janis Joplin, Allman Brothers Band, Jimi Hendrix, Grateful Dead, on and on and on. It was just an amazing experience for a 19-year-old kid. And then in '76, that band broke up, Ides of March broke up, and put together Survivor, and a really good run. And probably the most famous song was Eye of the Tiger, which Frankie and I wrote for Rocky III. But we had other hits that were not in movies, like The Search Is Over and High on You and I Can't Hold Back. And I wrote a lot of the songs with 38 Special, Hold On Loosely and Caught Up in You. And I was kind of like the sixth member of the band for many years. And it's been a great ride.
That is so. I've been beefing up on my rock history for this whole weekend, and I was like, what? Eye of the Tiger? That's insane. That is so cool.
Thank you.
That is just awesome. Zach Carothers.
Well, my name is Zach Carothers. I'm the guy that has to introduce himself after you. That's,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, and just
I don't have much to say.
Let me tell you something. My son found out I was hanging with Zach Carothers, and he's a big Portugal the Man fan, and he says, they're really hot right now. So that's a quote from my 24-year-old son.
Tell him I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I got his card, so I'll tell him
Yes, you
myself.
do.
I appreciate
Good.
it. So yeah, my name is Zach Carothers. I play bass in a band called Portugal the Man. We're from Wasilla, Alaska. We've been at it for about 8 or 9 years, and just pretty much nonstop. We started the band and got out there real dirt poor and just kept on touring. It's fun doing something like this. I remember myself at the age where I see a lot of these kids that are performing today. And it's funny, today I saw them do a couple songs that my band in high school, we would cover the exact same songs, and that means a lot to see how timeless they are, that no matter what stage you are in life and what generation you are, there's the same music that's great forever. So
True.
I'm honored to be here sitting with legends like these. It's pretty amazing.
You are. Can you imagine how I feel right now? I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm in this room. Well, you offer you all offer such different perspectives on music. It's so fascinating. Before we get into the Q&A, and I grill you guys, no, not really, I would like to have everyone in the audience section introduce themselves. Just say your name and your affiliation with the School of Rock to talk about why you're here.
Okay.
You want to start?
Bill Efferman, parent of a rocker. I refer to myself as Mrs. Efferman because she actually is the boss. And so there you go. And I take a lot of pictures for fun and profit. No profit.
Some of the very iconic pictures that you may see in ads and things actually have been taken. There's one in particular of the kids against the crowd at Red Rocks. He took that. It's the total money shot.
Cool.
It's great. So anyway.
Aaron Delphos. I work at School of Rock in the corporate office, and my job is to find partners all over the world to open up new schools and keep the kids coming like we saw today.
Awesome.
I'm Keith Toiber. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and we are Perspective School of Rock franchisee.
Oh, how cool.
I'm Kevin Hester, and same as him, opening up a School of Rock, hopefully in Cary, North Carolina.
Colin Fitzpatrick. I also work on the development side with School of Rock. Basically work with prospective franchisees, take the whole due diligence process, and working towards planning more schools all over the place.
Spread the faith.
I'm Len Sitnick, Director of Training and New Programs. I train new owners on how to run schools, and I also develop a lot of the curriculum and all of the educational programs that we have to do.
And trains all our instructors. And he has run schools for years.
And he plays bass really well.
Yeah. So he's very modest, so we have to fill in the details.
And I'm Lee Spoon from Cape Town, South Africa, and myself and my brother are potential franchisees.
That is so cool, South Africa. That's insane. That's just, oh.
That would be the first in South Africa, I bet.
Yeah, first on the continent.
That is so exciting. Well, thank you all for joining us. I know you're not here for me. I know you're here for them. But I appreciate it anyway. All right. Are you guys ready to be grilled?
Fire away.
Fire away.
Yeah. So just let everybody know, it's the web, it's a little bit tricky, and I actually lost two of the Chrome box shots.
So which one do we have?
I've got one. They're there, but I'm rebuilding the other one. So a little bit of the shots are weird. Christine and Dennis, if you can hear me, that's what's going on. We can ask questions. We can hear people. I'm in the middle of building the experience for what's out there. So if you can bring us any questions from the web, that would be great.
All right, but I'm just going to keep rolling?
Yep, keep
All right, keep rolling. That's how we do it on the internet. Okay, well, we wanted to start with, because, you know, it is about the School of Rock. I would like to hear from each of you what it felt like for you the first time you picked up an instrument. What was that feeling for you? Metal Mike?
Well, I remember, okay, of course, they're all going to be true stories. But I remember my mom knew a friend who had a lot of guitars, and it was cold outside, and the friend brought, it was like a BC Rich copy guitar. He rang the bell. He says, here's the guitar for your kid, and the guy took off, and I took that guitar. It was brown, it had good pickups in it, and I saw the guitar, and I was like, that's it. Before even I played it, I was like, that's it, that's the guitar. I'm going, I knew I was going to be a guitar player. So I never had, from that point, from that first day on, I've never had more than 12 hours of saying maybe I should do something else, you know. It was a completely, like, this is what I was going to do. So when I ordered guitar lessons from the internet, you know, and I would order many of them at the same time, thinking if I didn't learn it, then I would fail because I would spend money on something I couldn't use, because we're from Poland, we have no money, you know. So I would order like 2 lessons at a time, $11 each.
Yeah.
And I would run home to the mailbox to see if my tapes came in.
That's awesome.
You know, and I would just play.
So that was before the internet, though, wasn't it?
This was 1986.
Okay, you said the internet.
I would order guitar lessons from magazines, mail order.
That's
Wow, mail order.
Yeah.
From magazines,
Yeah.
like you actually had to fill it out.
And I played it, and I loved it. I loved it. And the first year, we did a high school talent expo. And I had my clothes laid out for like months in advance. I was like, this is what I'm going to wear. I swear to God, I had socks put aside that I was going to wear. I borrowed my mom's pants because she had these tight pants with this print.
Yeah.
And I was like, those are the pants I'm going to wear. Yeah. And I begged my friend to make me a fake guitar. It was like a Les Paul, but it was like a cardboard. And we filled the guitar with flour in the middle.
Yeah.
So for the final note, I put my guitar away and I smashed this guitar on the high school floor, and this explosion happened.
That's brilliant.
With white flour, and of course they hated me because all the flour went inside the boards of the school.
But they're still there too.
Yeah, so there was no coming back. So that was like my first 9 months of playing guitar. So,
That is so
wow,
great. I mean, you can even see it now, like the excitement and the passion that you have, which was something else that I read about you. You're known for your sincere passion when you play.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Okay, Jim.
Well, yeah, well, it's kind of, the ukulele was, like I said, the first thing, and it's not like it set me on fire, but, the memories of my sister Janice and Alisan, and we're in the back seat of the old 52 Chrysler, driving down through the Smoky Mountains to Florida, and 3 ukuleles going. I was 4, and they were like, 14. And playing these corny, campfire songs, and happiest time of my life, and it started with music. But, it really electrified me figuratively and for real. First time I played an electric guitar. That's when I was about 10 years old. Bob Sabek had an electric guitar. He was in my class in like 6th grade. And he let me play it and, plugged it into the Gibson amp, and it was this electric sound. It was magic. It was like mercury. It was just like floating, and I became just enamored with the sound of an electric guitar. But I have to say, what really set my course was standing on stage for the first time and playing Kansas City, Here I Come, for the Talented Teen Search at Cermak Plaza. And I finished, I heard my voice echoing through the parking lot, what a feeling of kind of empowerment. And then I heard the applause, and it was only about 50 people, but they applauded. And those applause were like an elixir. It was like suddenly I was healed, I was validated. I was 11 years old, but I had all these kind of worries. I worried about everything. I was kind of I don't think they even had initials for what I had, you know. It was just, I was a weird kind of kid. And when I stood on stage, I became whole. And that's why I have to stay on stage to get my fix all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like you can tell that Jim's a writer. Like the way that the way that you just said that. I mean, you could just tell that you write down your songs. Absolutely. All right, Zach.
I'm actually going to go with not my first instrument, as you did, but probably moving towards guitar. I played saxophone for about 10 years. I started when I was very young, and I got really into it. And I loved music in general. My parents had a very, very good vinyl collection, and I picked up the saxophone when I was real young. Not even sure why, but I loved it, and I'd always play. I played in a jazz band ever since I was, I think, 7 through the end of high school. And I always played that. I always played jazz and classical. But I didn't really listen to that. I listened to rock and roll. I was Pink Floyd, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And I think I'd listened to those. I never thought I could do it because I was listening to people that, you listen to Pink Floyd, and my dad had a guitar laying around the house. I'd pluck out a little bit, but I knew that I couldn't play like any of those guys. And then what really changed it for me was in about 92 or 93, and I heard Nirvana for the first time. And it connected with me on such a deep level. And it was relatively simple, chords and solos. I would listen to it like, oh my God, this is the most insane thing I've ever heard. And because it was one of the first bands that I found myself. My older cousins didn't show it to me. My parents didn't show it to me. It was mine. It was my first band that I found all on my own. And I would listen to it, and I'm like, I think I could learn how to play that. And so it started off with that. I sat in a room, and I learned. My little brother and I was 4 years younger than me at the time, and we just sat there and learned every Nirvana song there was, period. And then it went on to other things and started writing my own music. Same thing, I started a band when I was very young. And, we played for people, and just that, it is that release of playing for people, and especially a small town in Alaska. When I was in high school, we were the only band in the town.
What were they called?
We were called the Dependable Letdowns.
That's a good name. Good name.
That was pretty good. I was lead guitarist, lead singer. I'm not a good lead guitarist or lead singer, but did it out of necessity. And then I moved down to Oregon to go to college. Missed playing with people, and my friends asked if I wanted to join a band. They needed a bass player. I'd been playing lead guitar, so I was like, I don't want to play bass. But then I miss playing with people, so I said, sure, I'll do it. And I bought a bass, and I went to one practice, and then that was it for me. I'm never playing guitar again. I'm a bass player from here on out. Of course, I still play guitar, but professionally, my main instrument. I love the thump. I love the low end. I got a compliment by a girl at one of our shows who was deaf, who couldn't hear, and she came up to me and said, she pointed at my other guys. She's like, I have no idea what those guys do, but I can feel what you do.
Wow.
That's heavy, right?
Yeah.
You don't even need ears to hear bass.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm just stuck with it now. I'm like, I'm a low end guy.
Do you do 5-string or 4?
I do 4, but a lot of time I used to play a 5-string, and then I kind of went back to classic. I wanted a 70s and 80s P bass. I saw all the music videos when I was a kid.
Sure.
So I still have a 5-string.
Yeah.
I play it sometimes.
Yeah,
but,
gotcha.
Real classic. Yeah.
Cool.
What's really interesting about what all of you brought up and bringing it back to why everyone is here is you all brought up the stage. You all had a story or a moment with the stage. So what do you think a competition like what we're seeing here at Gemba 2014 does for these kids? And you can all answer, any one of you can start.
Well, I think for once it kind of, well, it actually could come from the parents. When a lot of these kids see their parents in the audience, it's amazing though, as a rock musicians, to see your parents be there, even though you might feel uncool if you're 13, But I think it means a lot to the kids to see people they know support them, because even like a lot of rock musicians, you go and play your show and you have a few friends there, and and there's not a lot of people you know. So I think that was important, like for myself, to see people I know, like my mom, my dad would always go and see me play, and it made me play my best always because I don't want to disappoint my parents the way I play. So, and I think he helps them build confidence, and one thing I've noticed about School of Rock in particular is that other kids are very supportive of other kids playing. So even though this is competition, it's not a competition in the sense of trying to outdo anybody. I still see kids go up to the stage and support like lead guitar solos and stuff, and that's a lot different. I've never seen that ever. Maybe it's like a newer. No, maybe it's like in the real world. Maybe I've never seen maybe it's like a newer thing at concerts, but it's the first time I've seen with School of Rock.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh wow,
great,
that's kick-ass. So I think those type of things I've noticed.
Yeah. So in other words, Portugal the Man gets a lot of this in the audience, do they?
Not a ton. It's more of a hardcore thing, but I think of course, we don't shred as much, especially not as metal Mike does. We're a little more, it's a little more groove. These kids can straight up out shred us, a lot of them. They're fast, man.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about. Is like the faster
Keep
you
going.
go, the more of these you get.
Oh, no wonder I never get that.
Yeah. I don't get them much anyway. It's cool.
But watching the kids today and last night, I was pretty impressed in general. And like Mike said, the sense of competition. In my day, all the bands hated each other in high school. I mean, not hated, but the Justics, they suck, and the Mystics, they're horrible, and the Mystics would say the Ides of March suck, and it was this really weird thing. And these kids are so supportive of each other. It's more the way we became after we got out of high school and got into the real world. But I love to see the kids light up on stage. It's like I was sitting next to the new director of School of Rock, Shauna, and we were both saying this is like you could never pay for therapy like this, and it would never work like this. This is like the big purge. This is being validated up there. No matter what size you are and what shape you are, and even how good you are, if you're giving it all, those people are going to go crazy. And that's the coin of the realm. It really is.
And it's not so much the competition that it's the competition that just drives everybody. It's not. Everybody wants to win and stuff like that, but art isn't a competition. Music isn't a competition, and so it is in a way to surround yourself with like-minded people that are pushing you forward. That's why these guys are all so good. I mean, imagine I had to fight. I had to look for 12 years to find 4 guys that I could play music with, and these guys have 50 in every school. They've got tons, and that's what's amazing about it. Think how good all of us would have been if we were just surrounded every day.
I know. It's crazy what we did with nothing. Really,
So the next 10 years, like when all these kids are growing up, like the next generation of musicians, just in general, I think this is going to just make a huge difference on the world of music.
It's going to be scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Good scary.
Good scary.
We're done.
Oh, we're history.
Yeah.
That's good. You guys are already making your mark now. You're good.
That's
You're
right.
good.
Yeah.
Originally, we were going to crowdsource questions from the internet, but since the internet's not working right now, any questions from this audience?
There we go. We got some questions coming up.
We got questions? What? You're going to have to tell them to me, John.
We've got Dennis. They can talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
I can't hear them. Is it just me?
Oh, I could talk. Hey there, this is Christine. I've got a question from Holly. She wants to know, for all the rock stars, when you are playing your instrument, do you feel unbelievable joy?
Feel everything. It depends on what you're playing. A lot lot of music isn't about being happy, but it's the release that it's something that you need. For me, at least, like, it depends on what you're playing. Sometimes, you know, you want to feel sad. Sometimes you want to feel anger. Sometimes you want to feel stress. It's kind of what you're getting out there. But in general, yes, nothing makes me happier than playing my instrument. But there's a lot of things coming through.
Great answer. But, you know, and I agree with you. But at the end of a show, I never feel more satisfaction than after a good show. And people tell me I'm smiling up there. I have no recollection of smiling, but I guess I am. You know, it's just it's a natural state. You know.
Yeah. I think that's the no. I think there's different layers of stuff you get back from it, and I think ultimate joy can definitely be the biggest shadow of them all. But at the same time, I think it's important to remember that you're really out there, and your instrument and the situation you're in can also turn against you if you're not in the right state of mind. But being on stage, the ultimate of it is the ultimate joy, but at the same time, it could flip 180 and be the worst place it could be. Yeah, it could as well. So I think
that's
people,
fascinating.
People take it as a granted that you're on stage, you have incredible time, and that's the goal. And the more of experienced you are, what it takes is that what you're supposed to give back. And you know, you could do 20 shows and 3 of them could be that incredible, but guitar could turn against you as well if you're not in the correct state of mind and place. So the joy is one of the things you want to get, but sometimes it's not what you get as all the time. It's true.
That is so interesting. As someone that's never on a stage, I wouldn't. That's really. I mean,
on the stage right now.
Well, technically, yeah, but this isn't. You know, I guess a different stage. A different stage. This is one of the many things I do. I guess I didn't introduce myself. I'm Alex Ricky Gonzalez. If you care about the last name, it's difficult. I do a lot of things. I do social media, which is this. I work with John Ellis, who is now right there. He is technically my producer. I guess I'd be considered the host, the talent. Yeah. Sure, why not? Talent right here. I'll take it. But I'm also a graduate student at Kent State University, and I teach an intro to human communication class. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, but it's my summer. I only have to teach one course. Poor things. Have to put up with me. Summer break. Yeah, teachers get that.
Are you from Milwaukee?
I'm not. I feel like this has turned.
Turned so fast.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the ukulele, Jim, because I'm originally from Hawaii. So I have a really, close relationship with the ukulele.
Oh, wow,
yeah, and then I moved to Oregon, which is where I met John. And then I moved to Ohio just last year to do my graduate education. Yeah.
And you live in here now?
I'm not. I'm in Ohio for another year.
So you're visiting here?
For this, yes, that the School of Rock brought us in. Okay, enough about me, guys. Is it Christine that's going to be asking it?
Yes. Okay, so I have and I want to introduce myself real quick too. I'm Christine DeGraff, and I run a website called My Music Hangout, and you guys are broadcasting live on Google Plus to a whole bunch of people that are really excited to meet you guys. So thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Hi, Christine.
Nice to meet you guys. The question is from Cheryl. She wants to know, and I want to know too, what advice do you have for dealing with a show that goes wrong? So if you are on stage and things are going wrong, and this is probably something, some of the kids from the School of Rock are going to experience from time to time, how do you correct it? You don't just walk off stage, obviously. What do you do?
Well, let me be the first because I feel I'm an expert.
Me too.
The thing is, nothing can ever go wrong if you keep smiling. Things happen, especially in this world of reality TV. Mistakes are almost cool. Mess ups, wires that get crossed and pulled out. And I tripped on the stairs one time going into the audience. being Mr. Cool, I was going to do a little crowd walk, and right on my face. But you get up and you smile and you brush yourself off, and you become everyone's best friend. You can always turn a disaster into something enjoyable if you don't take yourself too serious.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, it's we're humans. It takes it down. A lot of people look up at bands on stage or listen to music, and they kind of put them up on a pedestal. But we're just music fans too, man. We're in the audience for other bands, and it's all the same. So that kind of stuff I think it makes it an important connection. Nobody wants to be perfect all the time, man. I don't want to go out there and play the same every night. I like having the mess ups, and it makes you get stronger. It makes you push to get better. It can be fun. Just play it off, man. It's all you never know what'll happen up there.
That's right. Right, Mike?
Yeah, it's it's funny. It's like the Lady Gaga song. You got to keep a poker face,
Yeah.
And but if you mess up, and it's a bad show, and they definitely happen. Sometimes your audience doesn't know. They're not really that tuned in some sense that they know you have a good show. Because if you keep the gates locked, they won't really know. And that's your responsibility as a musician. No one goes to a show to have a bad time. Even you could be a black metal, death metal band. No one really wants to go there to be even more depressed. You gotta understand it, why people go. So there's one thing to be a musician, and there's also one thing to remember that you're also providing entertainment. You can't be so one-sided that you just want to take from the stage. You want to take the energy as a musician from the stage and walk off. The truth is that it's got to be a two-way street. That's how it works ultimately the best. So that's the kind of stuff you got to remember.
Another piece of advice: you play a wrong note, just play it twice, and then everybody will think
exactly.
Even if it's bad.
I love that. I love that.
You're like way ahead of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. He means it.
Yeah, he means it.
That's no mistake.
And he's just being weird.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So great. Any other questions out there, Christine?
Hold on 1 second. Well, we have some comments. John Chef says he really wants that leopard jacket, please.
Are you? It's a little leopardy. It's not. It's fake. Let's just face it. I'm all into saving the wildlife, but tell what's his name that wants it?
John Chef.
John, you're never getting it, John. It's mine.
Go to crash.
And Rob Jacobson says there's no better way to connect with people than music, and he wants to be a rock star.
Do it.
Then so be it.
So go to the School of Rock, right?
Yeah, School of Rock. No, there.
I have to give accolades to the School of Rock. Like you were saying, if we had that, we could have made something out of ourselves.
Yeah, right. Done something with it.
Yeah. Could have quit our second night job. But no, we do love the School of Rock. It's really well run, and a lot of caring counselors and people and administration. It's just really, really good. You can tell the kids are so happy. Starts at the top.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything else out there, Christine?
Yep. I've got one from Cheryl Deuce. She wants to know if the judges see a reflection of who they were when they were the same age as the contestants, and do they feel like they can relate?
I think we can definitely relate. Personally, everybody I saw today was way better than I was when I was their age, for sure. And but yes, definitely. I remember, especially the first few shows, getting up on stage in front of people. You can really see the excitement in everybody's face, and that never really goes away. You kind of get used to it in one way, but you're never used to it in another, and it's still have that feeling. But I just like that. It's exciting. It makes me kind of fall all in love with rock and roll again today. It's great.
Other judges, you see some of yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, I do see a lot of myself in some of these kids. I just see their determination really, and you've got to have the passion. You've got to have the eye of the tiger, to rip off my own song. But you really do need to see that and feel that passion coming off the person. It's like a light that surrounds them when they're in the moment. And I saw that today in a lot of the kids.
Yeah, no, same thing. Like my friend just said, for sure. See myself and see what it meant to play. It still means the same thing, and it's awesome. They're excited. It's cool. Sure.
I saw I love the word fearless, because if you really want to make this a profession, if you really want to do this, you got to be fearless. Yeah. I saw these kids just jumping around and just like rocking. Fearless. They didn't care what anybody thought. That's the way you got to be.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I hope that they get to watch this at some point so that they, I mean, just to hear that you all see yourselves in them. If I were them, I'd be like, oh my God, that's insane. John says we have another question, Christine.
Yes, we do. And I posted a video of all the judges, of the one that you took, Alex, of all the judges signing the guitar, and tweeted that out. So I think the kids are going to like to see that. Maybe give them that little extra push for tomorrow.
Well, I didn't sign that yet.
It's
right over here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right over here.
So we've got a question from Joe Ray. He wants to know, who are some of the musicians whose stories you admire the most?
Mike, can I start?
Musicians who we admire the most.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, there are a lot of music. Of course, as a musician, you take inspiration from all kinds of things, not only musical, but also other musicians. And I would say that my favorite musicians are, if I have to choose, and I'm kind of like specific, I'm serious about stuff too. I'm a funny guy, but like I get really intense and serious about things. When it comes to heavy metal, I feel like I'm like a protector or something. But my first biggest influential guy, it was Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne band. And he was also influential in me because he opened up the world to classical music, which inspired me to actually go to college and study music further than heavy metal. So I'm like, well, if Randy Rhoads can do it, then maybe I could learn some of that stuff. Even though I didn't really study classical music per se, I was able to go to school for music and not just play heavy metal. Even though I knew as soon as the last day of school ends, I'm going to go on and be in a metal band, but I took the education. And then I think it was a guitar player called Yngwie Malmsteen, a Swedish guitar player that probably overall had the biggest influence on myself as a musician, but not in the sense of note choice of what he played, but more of towards the attitude towards playing rock music. Is that Yngwie is very individualistic, and he always stuck to what he liked, and that influenced me basically playing heavy metal. So I'm not a session guy, and I don't play in a country band, and if it's not heavy metal how I like it, I just won't do it, and I'm okay with it. So I play a flying V through Marshalls, and that's it, man. And that's kind of what I do. So I would say those two guys, and also as far as guitar player, I love Steve Vai, because he brings a lot of joy to his playing, and becomes unpredictable what he's going to play. And I like to listen to music that I can't predict where it's going to go. So that's my favorite. And I also love Tina Turner because I think she's one of the greatest vocalists. And the last thing is same as plug, I would love to do a heavy metal song with Lady Gaga. So if you're listening, you gotta reach out.
That would be awesome. Seriously, Lady Gaga, if you're out there, if your PR team's out there, that would be so cool. We endorse it.
Do it.
Do it.
Very cool. Yeah, I have so many influences. it depends what era of my life. Elvis Presley set me on fire when I was like 5 years old. I saw him in Ed Sullivan and singing Hound Dog, and he was rock and roll. I didn't know what I was feeling. All I know is I was electrified. You know, he had it. Elvis Presley just had it in spades. And the next revelation, you know, all that era, I loved early Johnny Cash. You know, when he was still on the Sun label, and then, but then I got enamored with songs, and I realized that I had all these, my favorite songs. Later on, I found they were all written by almost the same teams of writers. Backrack, David, that wrote all the Dionne Warwick stuff. Jerry Goffin and Carole King, Lieber Stoller. I became a fan when I realized they wrote all my favorite songs on the hit parade. I became really into songwriting teams, you know, Cynthia Weil and Barry Mann. And they were hugely influential later on in my writing when I would actually try to kind of channel some of the Backrack David challenges, but make it more into the rock genre. Of course, when the Beatles came around, it was life-changing. To hear great songs by Lennon and McCartney, they were truly great songwriters. And they had this thing called the Beatles that I think they were from Mars or something. They were like blessed. They were channeling something that no one else ever has and never probably ever will. They were really that special. The four of them together, you know, it was never ever the same, splitting them up. They were always great. But those four together changed my life. And of course, I wanted to be the Beatles, you know. But they hugely inspired me, as well as the Beach Boys. And I got the thrill of my life in 2012 when I got to write with Brian Wilson, and we wrote the title track to their comeback record called That's Why God Made the Radio. Truly, I mean, a full circle moment for me. I'm still pinching myself.
Zach?
I gotta agree with you for sure. The Beatles and the Beach Boys. The Beatles just really paved the way for so many genres of people. I mean, same with metal. Like, yes, metal people, a lot of like, well, Beatles. Like, just in recording techniques and songwriting in so many different ways, they really pushed so many envelopes. That was amazing. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Pink Floyd. Then, like I was talking about earlier, when I found my own music, Nirvana, Rage Against the Machine, the Beastie Boys, people that, in all ways, I always latch on to people who do something new, who take something and kind of really make their own thing out of it. And so all those bands really stick out to me for sure.
I just want to add one more thing that relates to today. Blood, Sweat, and Tears. When the first album was with Al Cooper, and that was a great record. Second album was when David Clayton Thomas joined. And we went to see them at the Kinetic Playground in Chicago. And we're all like, 18. And they started out with those cutting horns on a song called More and More. And it just like, the air froze. It was just like one of those moments that you'll never forget. And today, one of the groups did the Blood, Sweat, and Tears rendition of When I Die by Laura Nyro. I was so proud that they had picked that song and that arrangement. Nobody ever remembers that. And it was really like a full circle moment.
That's so cool. So speaking of the students today, what you just mentioned these artists that you all look up to. What is it like when people come up to you and tell you that, or you find out that they look up to you? What is that feeling like?
Heavy, man. It's crazy. It's hard to even fathom that, really. It feels really good, but I don't know if that'll ever really sink in. I mean, we haven't been at it as long as you have. Maybe it sinks in a little more, but I don't know, man. Every time I hear that, it's just absolutely insane. I feel very lucky and very proud to be able to make people do that because, that's all I think any musicians really want to aspire to is just push more inspiration. That's the whole thing. Is just keep this train moving. And I want to have that. And especially when somebody that we respect say, "Oh, I like your music," it's just like what? And then I can't wait for a kid that says that to me later on. They come up with a band and I'm like I'm now inspired by you, and it's just like keeps on rolling over and over itself. It's pretty heavy and amazing.
When I told my son that I was, hanging out with Zach from Portugal the Man, I didn't expect the huge reaction that Dad, they're really hot. They're doing all the festivals. This guy plays for, 100,000 people in some of these fests. It's like, yeah, that's pretty darn cool. But, I think to have the respect of your heroes is really an amazing feeling. But really, the respect of the audience is even just as good. I mean, I love it when someone that I respected, I'm friends with Buddy Guy, who's like my hero. But he also said, Jim, I heard that song Vehicle, and, I thought that was a black man, to tell you the truth. I love that song. So every time I jam with him every January at his club, we always do Vehicle. And we trade off verses, and I'm a happy guy. That's my hero.
So cool.
For me, it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm always very appreciative if somebody enjoys my guitar playing or songs or records I've been on. But I don't dwell on it. I always say thank you very much, and then so there's almost like a bounce of shield, like, oh, that's awesome, and I don't. Yeah, it means like I really appreciate it. But I never think about like, man, a lot of people are really digging it. It's never like
Keeping the ego in check.
Yeah, it's almost like
I
if a negative thing, I would, even though as time goes on, you're more comfortable what you're doing. So negativity really doesn't really affect me nearly as much as it did before. But a negative comment, I would think more about maybe what can I improve that maybe more people won't feel like it versus dwell on how many people might have said that they like something. So it's pretty bizarre, But I'm a Jim. I think like my ultimate thing is just to see a lot of people like it, and I'm cool with it. Like I don't reach out to hear it individually,
And I think that, the critics thing, you have to have a really tough skin for the critics, and if you believe the good reviews, you're going to believe the bad ones too. So I tend to stay away from reading reviews. But I remember I was on the road with the Ides of March, and we had a #1 record, Vehicle, and the Rolling Stone was like my Bible. That was the Holy Grail in those days. Now it's another magazine, but back then, if you were cool, you'd be the Rolling Stone and get a good review. Well, they had a column, and it was called Condemned, and they had a little guy hanging from a noose, and they would always choose one record.
Yeah.
One day I opened the back, and there it was, Vehicle, the Ides of March, Condemned, hanging guy. And I was on the road in Washington, D.C., and I was thoroughly destroyed. I think I cried.
What?
Yeah. And here's all our hard work, and but it taught me a good lesson because the song was #1. The people spoke, and it took me a lot of years not to create a thicker skin for that kind of thing.
Sure, and you gotta keep that in mind with it's always a tough thing and especially when you're writing music too, and you have to do it. You have to write music selfishly too, because it's not. You got to make it real. You're always saying like, oh, this is a catchy part. I think people like this, but you don't write it for other people. Like that's the one thing that you got to do selfishly, and like you hope it means something to people, but you gotta, for me at least, anytime I'm writing something, you gotta like make sure that you just do it for yourself. Right. So that way, no matter what anybody says, well, whatever, I feel good about it, and then try to bounce it off.
Yep.
I have a question. Do you guys get that fear, like, as a blogger or whatever, we get a fear sometimes when we hit the publish button that, people are going to say, oh, that's crap. I can't believe you did that. Do you have that fear when you release a new song, when you do something new, try something new?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You have to.
So it never goes away.
No, I mean, Paul McCartney, he's very affected still. I mean, I don't know Paul, but I've read very affected by negative reviews still. Yeah. guy walks on water, but it's still, it affects you. But you try not to let it. You try not to let someone's judgment, influence how much you like something. If you really like something, like it. And
Do you have a trick for like getting over it, like a bubble bath or something?
that's something you would do. Come on.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
You know, if I have a bad day and I get like a bad review from a student, or a student's like, I hate you, I'm like, I'm just gonna go home and take a bubble bath.
I think for me it's a
Eat a pint of ice cream.
No, it depends, actually, I think. When I hear something bad, if it's well written and I think they thought about it, I respect it. But there's a lot of people, I feel like, they'll bash a new album in bars, but I just don't feel like they even listen to it. I felt like they listened to one song, maybe two, and I can tell that they didn't even really write anything about it. But either way, you know what I don't like even more is middle of the road things. I hate it, whenever it comes to any band. I don't like saying about anybody. Never say that something's all right.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I want to make people feel something.
Yeah,
Even if it's bad,
Yeah.
I want to invoke some sort of emotion.
That's good.
So hate it or love it. But like the whole it's all right thing, nah,
Oh, it's
don't
okay.
dig that.
It's
Don't
okay.
dig that.
Yeah, no.
I don't like the 2.5 stars. Give me
Like
0 or 5.
Or condemned.
Yeah, condemned.
Yeah. Well, we got that.
Metal Mike, any tricks? You just block it out.
Yeah, it's just like, I think it's like as an artist, why do we love to be on stage? Because ultimately, we love to be accepted, no matter like how many piercings or tattoos or leopard jackets we wear, to be accepted, And so when somebody says you suck, then, no, I don't cry about it. It's just kind of move on, It's tough, but who cares, man? There's a lot of people who are showing their love anyway, so, it's all good.
It takes a while, though, like I said, to really come to terms with negative criticism. Yeah, we all get it.
So what's the number one? Some of these School of Rock students, they're going to go out and they're going to want to try to do a music career, and music can be a tough. I hear you deal with a lot of rejection. What would be your one piece of advice for these students with dealing with that road to success?
Well, my only advice is to, and I know this might sound cliche, but it's so true, is like the kids really have to follow their heart in what it is that they want to do. And that takes a long time, because even some adults don't find out what it is that they want to do. So if a kid loves to play heavy metal, they should really just chisel out as much of a heavy metal as they can and do what they love. Because what happens is that like when they're on the road and the vent breaks down and the hotel room gets canceled and they're having like a ham sandwich and a bottle of water, like the heavy metal thing is the only thing that's going to be left. And if you're in some music that people don't like, there's nothing left. So music is the only thing that's going to carry you through the good and the bad correctly. So the music should be correct one for you. And I see this a lot with musicians, is that in order for musicians to stay working or stay in a scene, they play in a lot of bands that they don't really like to play in just to do it. And to me, that's a waste of time. Why do it? It's sort of like, do what you want to do and do one thing versus being in 10 bands and playing a country band, or I know so many kids are like, I'll just play with this band. Do you like him? No, but it's something to do. Like, to me, that's a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
You should chisel out what you want to do and just do that, and eventually you'll find people who want you to be that, and that's the best way of doing it.
Yeah, well said. I think you have to really want it bad to stay in music. It's not easy. If you're not 100% committed to it, you won't make it. There's only one way, to success, and that's single-mindedness. And like you said, finding your niche in music, identifying your gift. Now, maybe your gift really isn't music. You're going to find out real quick, because it's not easy. And if you're not driven from inside, you'll give up. And you probably should. You should do what you love, whatever that is. And, you know, the big cliche in America and everywhere is follow your dream. But make sure your dream follows your gift. You know?
Well, Jimmy, and not to even, because this, I just thought it's like a lot of people want, you don't have to make a living with what you love. Like that's the whole thing. It's like a lot of people could have a great career in life doing what they're good at and save what you love for doing it for what you love. And a lot of people feel because I love music, or I feel like I love music, I should be doing that. And sometimes that's your talent calling, say you're showing it, you shouldn't do it. But who knows, maybe you'll be better off as a scientist and saving. So I think sometimes if music of what you're good at and what you love cross, then that's clearly the path for you. But somebody could be a lot better computer programming than his love of music allows him, you know. So that's an important thing to think about.
It is, and not that music can't be in their lives, because I think music improves an entire life. No matter what you do, it's proven that it improves a curriculum, every subject, you know, when music is interjected. So music is a very important thread, but it doesn't always have to be the main focus.
Yeah, I want to play. I'm lucky enough to, I'm in a band where people come and watch my shows, but if they suddenly stop, it's not like I'm going to stop playing music.
Yeah,
I just might have to do something else to pay the rent, but I'm going to play music with the same guys I play with.
I
till
hear
die.
you. Yeah. You might be a Walmart greeter and
can't do that. Yeah. I'm still, you know, my garage can be badass.
It'd be rocking.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to give it your all, because the bottom line is too, is that if you're giving 99% and somebody else is giving 100, and I always thought about that, is that obviously the person who's giving 100, you know, I know there's a little bit of a different thing involved, but I always felt that, you know, your genius, like who said Einstein, that the genius is like 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, and that's so true, you know. I mean, you could be the greatest songwriter, but if you sit in your basement and never record your ideas, no one's gonna know.
Yeah.
You know, that's why a lot of guys who quote unquote make it, you know, we know the dudes, man. They just work their butt off, and maybe they're like, well, I could play better guitar, I could play faster guitar, I could write better songs. But the dude who stayed on the road all the time and they kept pulling out the CDs that were like 6.5 out of 10, and they're on the 10th record, and all of a sudden they're filling up big theaters. You're like, wait a minute, you know. So there's a lot of genius musicians who are not doing it, you know. And the other guys just gave it all. They just kept pounding it away.
It's hard too. You got to make a lot of sacrifices. I've lost dogs, girlfriends, college. I apartments. I've lost everything. I was homeless for years. Slept in a van. We used to, our first tours, we'd buy a giant bag of rice and a rice cooker, and we'd be in a minivan that we didn't even have a trailer, and gear was stacked flat with some sleeping bags on it. It was so tight to the ceiling. If you were in the back, you couldn't lift your head up enough to read a book. It was laid. There were 3 other guys like this from, you know, Salt Lake City to Colorado, 10 hours. And
that's called dues.
Yeah. That's the dues. We'd stop at truck stops, truck stops and things, and we'd unplug the soda machine, plug in our rice cooker. And that's where we ate dinner on the sidewalk. Do our dishes in the bathroom and keep on going.
Man.
And we did that for years and years, and then you get up. We got one hot dollar item from a McDonald's or Wendy's a week, and then the next thing, our per diems were like $3 a day for food. Then it turned into 6. Then we'd get one hotel room to split between like 10 people. We got 2 hotel rooms, then we get more, and so it's like it just keeps building up. But, you know, it was tough, man. And a lot of our members dropped like flies. There's 2 original members of our band. The singer and I, we started it together, but so many people have quit. So many people have done that for 8 months and just be like, nope, I don't want it that much. And he and I did, and we're still here. So
that's amazing. That's the way you do it. Making movies for the MTV.
Yeah. That ain't working.
That's such a perception, though. It's so funny. It's hilarious. A lot of these bands, it takes 10 years to be an overnight sensation. You know? It's crazy.
I have a very special guest. There is a family on Google Plus. They're the Aston family, and it's a mom and dad and 2 sons that all play instruments. They do live hangouts on air, and I just brought Sue and her son Lee on. And would it be possible for them to play for you?
It's fine with me.
Crank it. Turn it up.
I don't know if they're quite ready, but they'll let me know if you're ready. Hey, Sue.
Hey there, you okay?
Hey, guys.
Can you tell them where you are from?
No. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, we're from Cornwall in the UK, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning here.
Whoa.
So we're struggling to stay awake, but hey,
But
thank
they're
you
very
for asking
excited.
us.
Oh my.
That's rad.
Internet
Nice.
radio. Yeah. We're ready when you are.
Yeah.
Hello.
We're ready whenever you are, Sue. You guys have the floor.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Lee, say hi. Hi, Lee.
Hi.
Is this your first HOA?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, but you're on the stage playing for 3 rock stars. How cool is that? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Sue?
Okay, we're just changing the studio settings, okay?
Hold on. We gotta intonate the tele. Whoa.
Oh.
We gotta rewire the jack. Hold on. Okay. Are you ready? We'll be tuning the Marshall. Hold on a second.
This is a first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never know.
No.
You don't do it. You don't do internet interviews?
I've never had someone play.
Had someone play for you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Of course, they haven't done it yet.
We might never be the first.
Yeah.
job.
Awesome job.
Hey guys, I hope that was all right.
It was lovely.
Oh, good. We're like a little bit half asleep here, but we're just kind of on autopilot, so I hope it was okay.
Music.
I just think that, just in the School of Rock spirit, for Lee, he's a teenager. This is his first ever hangout on air, and to have that pressure of playing. Oh, let's play for 3 rock stars.
Exactly.
Can we ask them some questions?
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. Right, Jim.
Oh yeah, I was just trying to ask, who wrote that piece?
Oh, Lee will answer that question.
Was it Stephen Ossa, I think?
Yeah, I think so. And the Spanish Romance, that's just a Spanish folk song, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
And who played violin? Who played classical guitar?
Lee was on classical guitar, and I'm his mom. I was playing violin.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks ever so much.
How old is Lee?
How old is Lee? Lee's 15.
Oh my God. Oh my God, very nice.
That was lovely.
Did you ever
thank you.
Did you ever hear of a group called Acoustic Alchemy from England?
Oh yes, yeah, I think we have.
They're good friends of mine. I worked with them a lot, and I don't know. I just thought you might enjoy them but now that you've heard of them, so.
Yeah, definitely look into it even more. That's great. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. That was awesome.
All right. Well, do we have any other questions out there, Christine?
Well, I mean, actually, we have tons of questions. I'm sure we could go all night, so it's up to you. But Rhonda Green, she said she would love to hear about the writing process and what inspires your writing. Do you do it alone, or do you write with others?
Is that a question for us, or is that for the guys?
Everyone.
Well, I can take it. I'll be first. I'm perfectly capable of writing a song all by myself, lyrics and music and chords and all that. But a lot of times I'll collaborate because it's like throwing different spices into a dish. Sometimes if I write it all myself, it's very one-dimensional. It could be good, but other opinions always. And even if that person's just sitting in the room, you're filtering ideas through that person. It is. And if you want to throw out a line that that person's not going to like, you tend to improve it before it even gets out of your mouth.
Yeah.
So, it's like musical tofu, it's like you take on the flavors of the room, So I do like collaboration when it works. I've had some great collaborations. Some of my biggest songs have been collaborations, but collaborations don't always work. And there could be 2 very talented people in the room, and they almost can cancel each other out if the vibe's wrong, or if you're compounding your strengths, where this person is a melody guy and I'm a melody guy, and suddenly, there's not enough tension. We have the same gifts, basically. So I like collaboration, but you got to find the right people.
I totally agree. I never write. We just write with our band together, and everybody's kind of got their certain roles. Our singer does, I was talking to you a little bit about this last night. It's a lot of the structures and the chords and the lyrics, and I help with lyrics. Our keyboardist helps with a lot of the chord structures, and everybody kind of takes on a certain role. And yeah, I love the collaboration thing. It's always more interesting, and you kind of feel. It depends on what the song is. Sometimes if it's a very personal song, it's better if you just write it.
Sure.
But then other times, if the connection's meant to be a little bit more broad, it's fun to get some other hits.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of artists like musicians like to write by themselves, because I think it's a little bit of a fear thing of they don't want to throw out ideas and somebody says, let's improve it or do it better. They're like, well, I'm just going to write everything, and there are some geniuses at that, but I think it teaches you a lot to write with others, So I think we could all write our own songs, for sure, But it also depends. Like, for example, if I'm working with a vocalist, I don't want to put words in the vocalist's mouth because I know, depending on the ego of the other musician, they like to sing their own words, you know? So most people ask me to produce guitar riffs because they want great riffs that they could just go off on. So that's a lot of my extent of stuff that I work on with others. As far as
I watched one of your videos, Metal Mike, yesterday where you were teaching guitar riffs. That was very, very cool. So.
Thank you. That's probably from the from my Guitar World column.
Yes, yes, it was. Yep.
I have a column called Metal for Life in Guitar World magazine, and they just told me that it's the longest running column in the history of the magazine.
Congratulations!
Which is amazing.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
That's a lot of riffs there.
That's a lot of riffs, man.
Hey, Sue and Lee, how do you guys write? As a family, do you write any of your songs together, or is it all separate?
A bit of both, really. Sometimes we have like a family jam of an evening, but quite often we just go away and write our own things and then ask each other to come and play on them. So a bit of a mixture, really.
That's great.
I just love her accent.
I know.
Like, she's just adorable.
They're my favorite family in the whole world, and tomorrow we're doing an hour-long show with all four of them. You know, on an HOA. We're very excited.
Oh, we're excited too. Thank you.
So awesome. Well, unfortunately, our guest musicians have to leave. Well, not unfortunate for you guys. You guys get to go enjoy a dinner. But we are sad to see you go. But thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. I know all of our
very
viewers
much.
need
Yes.
it.
It was fun.
So
it was fun. You're a great hostess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna. Can we edit that out, John, and like make that my own promotional piece?
No, it was a fun night for us.
Good. Well, it's just getting started.
One question: Are any of them active on Google Plus?
You guys even know what Google Plus is? Yeah.
Our band is, yeah. Portugal the Man's on there.
Portugal the Man. Look him up.
We're not, but you know, JimPeterik.com, you know, and I have Facebook too. A lot of my music and history and all that stuff is on there.
Awesome. And Metal Mike, where's the best place to find you?
I'll just go to metalmike.net.
All right, cool. Okay, and one more thing before I let you guys go. What are you most looking forward to seeing tomorrow as you judge?
I think of the finals, you know. Everybody puts on their A game and just raises the bar. I remember last year it was just incredible. So I want to feel that again.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep doing their best, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm in. I'll be there.
I'm in. I'll be there. All right, well, thanks, guys, so much. John, are we going to just leave this live?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can, I can put you a message and kill the audio for now.
Cool.
We'll come back with some other pieces.
All right. We'll be back shortly while we say goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is music education.
It
so,
is.
Yeah.
And you're on.
All right, so I just learned something, courtesy of Linda. This is, well, actually, Rockstar style for Mike. Okay, so I was telling Linda this is how I hold my vacuum cleaner too. You loop it, right? And you have to hold it like they hold it like this, because it's like the sweet spot, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Every mic has a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, right up in there,
Yeah.
which is why you want your own mic.
Here,
Why
look.
you use wipes. To, like,
I'll hold mine up too, but it's still in the box.
So we're just wrapping up today so that we can go talk to some rock stars a little bit more. At least that's my plan. But before we do that, let's talk about what you should expect from us tomorrow. Right after we talk about what is going on at Gemba tomorrow. What are we doing at Gemba specifically?
What are we doing
yeah.
at Gemba? Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to talk into the mic. It's been a long day.
So tomorrow we're going to go on site and we're going to capture the magic of what's happening, what this whole event is about, which is the kids, the parents, the franchise owners, the general managers, the music staff, the kids seeing each other, the fact that we have 1,000 people that are associated with School of Rock, whether they own a School of Rock, whether they manage a School of Rock, whether they teach kids, they're an instructor, a show director, whether they're a kid who's 8-year-old or a kid who's 19 or 18-year-old that are here to perform, or whether they're a parent, a sibling. We have all those people there, and we're about 1,000. Oh, and then, of course, there's the 21 of us from corporate staff.
A whopping 21.
Right, a whopping 21. Last night when I was looking around the hotel lobby, I'm like, this is our whole company practically. There's a few people not here, but very, very few, and one of them's on maternity leave. So anyway, what was really cool about Gemba today was I looked around anywhere I was on the festival grounds. I either saw a School of Rock t-shirt or a Gemba bag, which was, one of the little swag bags they got, or a kid with an instrument, or a kid with their school's t-shirt on. I mean, everywhere. They infiltrated the entire festival ground on 5 different stages. So that's going to happen again. There are going to be again, 59 bands from 33 schools from 15 states and Canada. And they're all going to play music. We're going to try and get as much footage as we can of the parents talking about that experience, the kids talking about what this experience has been for them. We're going to capture as much as we can of the finals themselves and the magic that happens on stage. Now, I don't know what we're going to get because this is what we do. We aim high and and we do what we can. So it's rock and roll, and we're doing this in the midst of the world's largest music festival. So today it poured rain. It absolutely poured rain, and we had thunder and lightning, and all of the stages had to stop, and we are on such a tight schedule. Right. So every band they have 15 minutes on stage. They're not supposed to play longer than 12 to provide for setup and plugging in instruments and that sort of thing. So when we lost 20 minutes in our schedule today, that was very hard on us because we only have the stages for a certain amount of time. But almost all of them caught up. We had one school that wasn't able to play today, so that we're going to try and fit them in to play twice tomorrow. So weather is going to determine what we can do as well. So that's what the plan is.
Okay. So we have the way it goes is that they play 11 to 5 correctly. Correct? Is that correct?
All the bands are going to play again from 12, starting at 12 and going till I believe it's 4 or 4:30. Okay. And then the finals start at the BMO Harris stage. The finals start at 5 and go till 7 or 7:30. I forget exactly. I think it's 7, and then we have the stage till 7:30. And everybody's always like hugging each other and all the like blah, blah, blah that happens afterwards. So that's what the plan is. Now at 7:30, the really large amount of people are coming into Summerfest, and we have tons of buses. We have to get people around. So we have to deal with the fact that we're in the world's largest music festival. So we have to be able to get out of there and get back here and all of that sort of thing. Besides the fact that many things have been coming up, just because we're coordinating. There's 20 of us or 21 that are coordinating all of those people. So, if something happens, we have to drop everything so that we can make sure that we can accommodate what they need.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. All right. So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow for the most part. Christine, what's gonna be going on in the virtual world? She's still there? John?
Oh, sorry, I had myself muted.
The mute button.
All right, Christine. Thank you.
In the virtual world, at 10 a.m. Central Time, John Ellis and I are going to broadcast live, and we're just going to talk about, what's going on at Gemba, what you guys have done, what you're trying to do, what we're all trying to do. We're going to try to, round up some footage. I have collected on My Music Hangouts YouTube channel all of the video clips that you guys uploaded, and then I also created a playlist of all the Gemba, it's Gemba, right?
Gemba.
Well, okay,
Gemba, I think.
No, I
Yeah,
think
Gemba.
it's Gemba.
There's this debate, and it was brought up yesterday when I was interviewing somebody. He was like, I thought it was Gemba for the longest time, and then someone corrected me and said Gemba.
There we go.
So I did a search of YouTube and put together a playlist of all the YouTube videos that were tagged Gemba 2014 by different schools and everything. So we're gonna bring in some of that footage. Then at 1, and I hate to keep going back and forth between Central and Eastern, but trying to calculate. I guess it would be noon Central, 1 Eastern. The Aston family is going to play live on My Music Hangout, and we're going to try to simulcast it so that it's embedded in both the Gemba 2014 event page as well as their own, and see how that works out. So that's for an hour. And then I guess tomorrow night we're going to be coming back, have you guys back on. We're not sure the time yet, but you'll be announcing the winners of the Battle of the Bands, so we can know who they are. Is it one winner?
There will be one grand winner, yes.
But it's a band, so technically
it's a band.
Winners.
Right.
Yeah.
So what school, and then do a recap. I think that's the plan. People can. I know that some people were expecting that we were going to be doing a little bit more, maybe music over the weekend. As you said, there's a lot of logistical things, and we had a few technical problems. But if they look on, the links that we have listed in the event page, they can see what's going on at Gemba from all the parents that are tweeting, all the kids that are tweeting, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's all being brought together. And, it's huge. You guys have, these, and it's about the kids. I think what it really comes down to is, it is about the kids. They're having a good time, and hopefully they're going to, get to watch some of this and see what the judges said and take their advice. And, but I think what you're doing is really awesome. I think the School of Rock is awesome. And I think what Alex and John are doing is really pushing, the technology envelope.
So one question for you, Christine. What's the best place for people to go to see all of this activity?
They should go to, they could go to rebelmouse.com/mymusichangoutrocks, and they will see all of the feeds. But as far as the live stuff and what we're doing right now on Google+, it's bit.ly, so it's bit.ly/Gemba 2014. And there's links to everything. And just search for it, because we're coming up. So search for Gemba 2014 or Gemba 2014, and you're gonna find it.
We're borrowing the word from Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, so.
Well, that's actually why fun fact about Alex, because we're learning so many of those tonight. I took Japanese for 4 years, and when I think of Japanese, it is je, I think. I'm pretty sure. But I haven't taken Japanese in like 6 years, so I could be wrong. All right, well, so they will see you and John at 10 a.m. Central Time?
Yes.
Okay, 11 a.m. Eastern, and I will be out in the field tomorrow, so I'm not sure when you will see that footage, but you will see it as soon as we can get it back here and to John, and hopefully he can do something with it. All right, so we will see you tomorrow again, Linda and Alex, at Gemba 2014 and John in the background. Can't ever forget John. I got in trouble
Making the magic
earlier
happen.
today. Making the magic
Yeah.
happen.
So
That's
I just
right.
a couple things I just wanted to say. One is that parents are really, really good at videotaping their kids. So thank you, Christine, for gathering that together, because there is a lot of footage out there of the kids playing. Absolutely. And we haven't been able to capture it. We as a company, we need to be very, very respectful about the fact that we don't own the sync rights for these songs. So, we're still like, we go very, very carefully around all of this, because we don't want to be perceived in any way of taking advantage of artists. Right. Obviously, that's not something that we could ever do. We have artists, we work with artists, we are nurturing artists. So thank you, Christine, for putting that playlist together, because there's going to be a lot. There's a lot of parents here. What's that? Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and then the other thing too, I just, when the judges were talking earlier today, there was something that they said that really came to mind around this and what we're doing, which is you have to be fearless. You have to just go for it. And this is what we're doing here. And I know that it hasn't gone exactly as everybody expected. A little different. And we all had a vision, and we wanted to pull something together. I said, we have to do something in Google Plus, because this is one of the biggest things that we do, and we have to do something. We got really, really ambitious. But isn't that the rock and roll way, to be really ambitious?
I mean, I can't, that's incredible that you made that connection, because you're so right. Listening to Jim talk about being fearless, I mean, it really, that's what we had to do. And even though it did not go as planned, I still think, so far, I haven't even read what's going on in Plus. I'm sure Christina has seen a lot of it, but everything that I have gotten, especially for tonight, is just incredible.
When we went live tonight, we hit a home run for sure. This was a great event, and that you guys put together and got those guys to come talk to, come interview and talk to us. And, I think that I see it as a major win.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that everyone else does as well. And next year, gosh, what are we going to be able to pull off?
I know, that's the thing. With some time. Christine, it was magic in a bottle. That was really what happened tonight. And that is what we experience in School of Rock. That's why we work so hard in our jobs. That's why we do what we do, because that's what this company is all about. It's magic in a bottle. And if we don't know how to do something, we find people that can help us, and we make stuff up. We do. It's just, that's how this company started, and that's how we grow. And, I can't think of a better way to bring School of Rock and present, and better people to work with, to make our kind of debut. It's like we're little Google Plus noobs, and, we're like the kids. We're like the 8-year-olds. It's like, how do I play a G chord? How do we get on Google Plus? Can you help us? So you guys are really helping us, and I could not have done this without you. This is so much better than I could imagine. I have this thing that I say to myself when things are going, when they're starting to feel out of control, and they're not at all what you expected or what you planned, and all I say to myself is best possible outcome. I just say, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to get attached to what the outcome is. I just go, I just want best possible outcome. And then I let it go. And that's exactly what happened when Metal Mike and Jim Peterik and Zach Carothers walked through the store, and I looked at how they represented our kids and music and rock and roll music. The indie guy, the young one who is, he's finally not having to, only get one hot meal from McDonald's a week. He's playing Lollapalooza. They're playing Lollapalooza. They're big. They've got people flying them around now. And then there's Jim Peterik, who is like he has been in the trenches rock and roll guy for so long. And then we have Metal Mike, and it's like that's our kids, and that's our music. And just to have those three and to be able to have that really intimate conversation with them and really hear what's in their hearts and minds and how they connect with music, that was magic in a bottle. Totally.
And let me tell you where the total magic happened for me, and I actually got chills all over my body, because all I've this My Music Hangout is just a hobby. It's only been a hobby, and it was just to share music. But then it started becoming, like, wow, I'm discovering these artists, here on Google Plus. Some of them completely unknown, and I'm able to bring them to, a larger audience. But then it was always my dream, what if I could bring them to, like Rockstar could watch it, or like, an indie or a label could watch it. So you guys kind of made my dream come true tonight, just because, I got to see Dan, this 15-year-old kid, do his first hangout on air ever for 3 rock stars. And, like, how cool is that?
That was
awesome.
Incredible. And everybody was just so completely charmed by that. I mean, they're just faces lit up. I know that they couldn't see you, Christine, but they were just, and I saw this light go on that all of a sudden, like, because they're not seeing, they're just talking, and all of a sudden they're listening and they're getting what's going on, that there's somebody out there that's family, that's musical family that play music.
In UK, and to be able to bring it.
Right.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing, that they're up at 2:00 in the morning, and it's England, and they're going to perform, and they want to bring their music here into this conference room at the Aloft in Milwaukee. That was just absolutely magical.
Right. And it was so great to see. I think it was Jim that was like, I've never had this happen, and I was like, oh, you've never done internet TV? He's like, no, I've never had someone play for me. And that was just such an incredible comment for him. That he recognized that this family was up at 2 a.m. to play for the judges. That was they did this special thing. Phil had a chat with me and Christine, and he said, we have something special planned, and it was just so interesting to hear Jim say that. It's just now I have goosebumps.
Yeah,
and it's not because this
she
room
does
is cold.
actually.
There was a comment earlier that they were glad to know that Alex has legs, because of course nobody on Google Plus has legs, and I think they've been looking at your legs a little. So
yeah.
That was planned.
One of them is tatted. It's one of my many hidden tattoos.
I've got a couple. I've got about 5 hidden ones too.
Yeah, I did let them out this weekend. It's the only way I fit in. I'm okay.
Don't worry about fitting in. God, if someone had told me that this is what I would be doing at this age of my life, I never would have believed them. It's just I fell in love with School of Rock because I saw what it did for my kids and the kids that I knew. I saw the magic happen. And so, I volunteered for a really long time. And then I worked for $10 an hour at the desk during Thursday nights during metal rehearsals and became a metalhead. And then I was like, I have to have more. And it's like, it just grew and grew and grew. And now I get to bring this experience to more places in the world and help people make this happen. And, it's like, I'm following my dream. I didn't know this was my dream, but I am. And I can't believe I get to do this. So, and that's what we do. Like, our people who come to us and want to open a franchise, they get that this is something really special. They may not become millionaires, doing this, and they're going to work really, really hard. They can make a really good living. You can make a really good living owning a School of Rock, but it's going to be the most satisfying thing that you'll ever do. And the fact that I now get to bring that experience to people after having that touch me and my family and really change my family and see it change all these families, that's incredible. And now you guys are helping us bring this to Google Plus in exactly the way I wanted it to be brought, which is very authentic. I mean, everyone at School of Rock is so authentic. We care about the kids. We care about music education. We care about artists. We care about nurturing people to become the best that they could possibly be and inspiring them. And, you guys have really helped us to do that. So I'm just so excited about what's going to happen in the future.
As are we. Trust me, as are we. All right, so we should probably wrap up.
Yeah, we could talk all night.
We could, and we probably will. We probably will. But you guys don't have to listen to us all night. So catch Christine and John at 10 a.m. Central Time, and then catch Christine with the Aston family at 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can still do it this late at night. And then hopefully later tomorrow we can do a wrap up for you and tell you who won the competition of the Battle of the Bands.
But really, they will all have won because
they will.
Whether they're 8 or 18, they've been playing instruments or performing together for 6 months or 6 years. They all played Summerfest.
That's true.
And they got inspired by other kids and got to find out that there are kids all over the world that are like them. And that's really what we wanted to do this for.
So really, mission already accomplished.
Yeah,
so
totally.
We'll tell you who gets to go home with a cool. We'll tell
gong.
We'll tell you who gets a cool gong tomorrow. That's pretty much it. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey there, this is Christine DeGraff from My Music Hangout, and thank you so much for watching. Today, it's just going to be me and John Ellis, and maybe Alex might join us. We're just going to be here for a little while, and we're going to talk to you about what we've been doing, what we're going to be doing, what we're trying to do, and just talk about Gemba in general. Gemba or Gemba, John? It's the question of the weekend.
I need to get Linda in here later on, maybe in the evening, to really clarify. I'm fairly certain that it is Gemba. However, everybody here is calling it Gemba. So it's kind of like GIF versus GIF. I don't really care that everybody says it's GIF. I will never call a GIF my peanut butter. It's going to be a GIF. This is Gemba. So there, that's my that's my take on that.
I think I call it a GIF, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I rarely would ever say the word GIF or GIF. I type it, but I don't remember how I think it. So.
Right. Well.
So here we are. We're on day 3. Let's talk about the weekend. Let's talk about starting from, you guys got there on Thursday. Is that right? You arrived in Milwaukee on Thursday. Catch us up.
All right. Yeah. It's been a whirlwind. We partnered up with the School of Rock to do this event literally 3 weeks ago.
And we meaning your EBN, which is Engagement Broadcasting Network.
Yes. EBN, Larry Fenelier, Jim Schenkel, Alex Ricky Gonzalez, and myself is Engagement Broadcast Network. And we have really just formed. We're a brand new company as well, doing what we do. SEO-wise is what Alex and I have been doing for a long time, and that's really brand management and brand voicing. And EBN is a different thing. It's more about the engagement and bringing that engagement in the best way possible, a multi-tiered experience, a transmedia experience as best we can do it. And that's why we partnered with you and to make this happen, because we needed more support. We needed people in social media on the front lines helping to build buzz, and you knocked it out of the park. I mean, that was, and for 3 weeks, this is, for all the technical issues, for all the people that were, saying, why is it like this? Why isn't this happening? All the delays. Understand that the School of Rock has had months and months to plan Gemba. We've had 3 weeks to integrate our piece to it. And so as far as
And then I had 1 week to promote it.
right, you had 1 week to promote it because, you know, when you're trying to get permissions to broadcast on grounds and do all these things, you're working with big companies and they don't move fast. They move slow. We still haven't heard back from Summerfest.
We still haven't heard back from the world's largest music festival as to whether or not we can say.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. If they're going to, yeah.
Well, they'll let us know, like, tomorrow or something.
It's my guess is it's all fine, right? And I'm sure we'll make it okay for next year, too. This year was such a huge success.
But, you know, and you have to understand, too, like, they are here in the midst of a music festival, planning a music festival. It's probably, like, one of those details that, like, who's got time for that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, you should see the town. I mean, this is packed. Even the taxi drivers are like, we don't go near Summerfest. It's crazy, right? I mean, so there's a lot of people here.
I read somewhere it was like 900,000 come during the entire event, you know, over the course of, 11 days or something?
Wow.
Something like that. It's, you know, it's a lot of people. So, yes, I can. So then you got there on Thursday.
Yes, let's get there on Thursday. We actually arrived in Chicago, the School of Rock headquarters, on Thursday. Shot some footage there, worked with the team, drove up to Milwaukee that night, set up on Friday at the Horny Goat, and discovered what it's like to arrive at a great place and not have the bandwidth we need. And they were great. Don't get me wrong, the Horny Goat was great, but with 3 weeks to plan, we weren't able to up the bandwidth, we weren't able to really get what we needed. So we tried, and we had some YouTube issues that I still don't know where the actual problem came from, but we were not allowed to, I could not log into YouTube from the live stream software. I could log into YouTube with any computer. So that's why we broadcast direct to live stream, you know, and that's what made Friday cranky.
And what we did yesterday and what you originally intended was to feed the live stream to YouTube? How does that work?
No, great question. What we're doing is what the Obama Hangouts were in 2012. And it's something that's right now is very complicated to make happen, which is why we had a lot of technical issues. The idea is you take a Hangout or a Hangout on air. You don't go live with that Hangout on air. You just hold it as the conversation capsule. And then I use live stream software to broadcast that out through YouTube Live or YouTube or any other streaming service. Right? We prefer YouTube because it's got the widest reach. Live stream is a more stable platform. No offense, YouTube, but you know, it's also a paid service, so there's a reason there, right? But that's what we do: is we take a Hangout and we wrap it in a live stream or a YouTube live broadcast, and that allows us to integrate all these other features like the Twitter feeds and having people comment and text and bringing in all that. That's why we do this.
And the YouTube piece is what we need for Google Plus to embed it here. So yeah, so it was, you know, it was a little confusing. I think some people were a little disappointed. I know I was a little disappointed.
Me too.
You know, we started pushing people to live stream, you know, and that was cool too. But then you got up Saturday and decided, okay, try this again.
Well, Saturday we had a better environment. We're here at the Aloft, or Aloft, however they want to pronounce it. Great hotel, right? They gave us a bandwidth that's out of this world. So I've got a great pipeline, and that's, you know, YouTube had no problems logging in, authorization. I mean, 3 weeks to plan. 2 weeks ago, Livestream updated its software, massive update. And 4 days ago, YouTube, massive update. So between those two things, I'm guessing there was a little bit of, you know.
Right.
But listen,
we made it happen though. We went live last night. We had Jim Peterik. Jim Peterik. We had Metal Mike, right? And we had Zach Carothers,
who is awesome. we got to get Alex in here to talk about Zach and the college he went to, and Alex also went to.
Awesome. Yeah. Is she coming in?
Are you ready?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I thought I called her in.
Well, we never did check your camera, so bring her in, and then I got to adjust camera on Alex. She's over here.
Or she could just come sit next to you.
That's good.
All right.
I'll come.
It's actually, yeah, there's plenty of room.
Get the camera to focus there. There we go. That'll work. We brought some swag over here.
Hey, Alex.
All fuzzy.
So you're once you stop moving, it'll adjust.
Yeah, well.
So you're like hanging out with lots of rock stars. I'm seeing all kinds of pictures.
Yeah, it's been really cool. Actually I talked to them the most during our break last night in broadcasting, and yeah, I found out that Zach Carothers, the guy from Portugal, the man, went to the same university that I did. So that was
very cool.
Yeah, that was super cool. It was just so funny because I went to a really, really small university. It's this tiny, tiny university that nobody knows about. And I told it, I was like, oh yeah, I wasn't living in Portland. I was like a half hour outside. There we go. I was like a half hour outside of Salem. He was like the Monmouth area. I was like, shut up. No one knows about Monmouth. He's like, oh, I went to school there. I was like, you went to Western Oregon University? Are you kidding me right now? So yeah, so we went to the same university. Totally clicked off that. I didn't get to talk to him later in the night. He was busy, but yeah, I've been talking to rock stars, and it's been awesome. It's been really cool.
You did a lot of research, I know, in just the days leading up to coming here to get yourself up to speed, on who these people were. So I really commend you for that. That was very cool.
Thanks. I did. I did do a lot of research, and luckily, the guys that showed up, I was like, okay, I remember this stuff. And I really in my research, I listened to as much of their music as I could, because I realized you get a lot more of them from their music. Like, I can read their bios all day, but watching Metal Mike play, and heavy metal is something I've never listened to in my life, but it really isn't. But watching him play,
I went on YouTube and found one of his guitar. He does some riff lessons, on YouTube, and I was watching them. It was very cool.
Yeah. It just, you just get so much more of their character out of it, and the stuff that I found with Jim Peterik, I knew coming into it that he was going to be a jokester and he was going to have fun, and that's just kind of how he is. And Zach from Portugal, the man, it's really easy for me to talk to him because I'm pretty sure we're around the same age. So I was like, oh, no problem there. It's just that he's a rock star, but the coolest thing about last night, about doing what we did, and then talking to them afterwards, is just an amazing reminder that they're just like everybody else. At the end of the day, they are people just like us, and they want to have fun, and they want to talk, and they want to,
Well, now, that's not always the case. I think there are some rock stars that would have probably just came into the room and been like, hey, I'm a rock star. And,
probably true. Yeah.
They were definitely real and down to earth, and I really like that about them.
Absolutely, and I think one of the key components to finding rock stars like that is the School of Rock. The School of Rock is going to work with people that appreciate the education, they appreciate what the School of Rock does for the kids, and that's the other great thing that we saw last night. Every single one of them were just so happy and thrilled to work with the School of Rock because of what the School of Rock stands for.
Awesome.
I just want to comment on that. I worked in LA for 10 years. I worked in Hollywood. I met a lot of the stars and the guys, and these people are the real deal. This is what Alex just nailed it. Every single one of these guys that we've talked to, no matter what their stature, it's about the kids. It's about the kids and music and education. You hear that from everybody who works at the school, and if they don't feel that way, they don't last. And that's just, it's a beautiful thing when you can have that kind of a relationship and lift these kids up. They're just amazing. It is so amazing what they can do. I watched it with my own. Chase and Dylan, 2 years into the School of Rock, and they went from barely being able to play Smoke on the Water to mastering prog rock. My son was playing Muse, right? My son was playing Rush. That's
awesome.
Insane after 2 years, okay? So,
hey, I want to bring up some quotes from last night, because I actually have them here on the stream.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw my comment or if anyone else saw my comment, but I just want to say, I mean, Christine has been giving us accolades like crazy. We could not do this without Christine. We could not do this. So, I mean, I know how hard it is to do the social work that you are doing, Christine, and it's just amazing. You have gone above and beyond for us and the School of Rock, and I just want everyone out there to know that literally we could not do this without Christine. And absolutely amazing. All right, let's get those quotes.
Let's get some quotes. Hold on.
Incredible quotes.
All right, I'm going to put them up, Blue Box myself, and then how about one of you guys read them?
All right.
Great.
All right, so we have Metal Mike. If you're giving 99% and someone else is giving it 100%, he's the one who's going to make it. You have to give it your all.
Absolutely.
And this was on advice for the kids. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to say this. If people think that the rock stars that you see today had it easy to get there, they don't understand what rock and roll is. They don't understand how hard it is to get to where they've gotten. Put that other one up. I'm sorry, Christine. Put it up.
That's all right. No, I'm sure.
So this is Jim Peterik. Music can be in your life whether you're earning a living from it or not. Absolutely.
And I think that that's a good, because it was advice for the kids, and they're not all going to become rock stars, and some of them may end up needing to do something else, but they shouldn't give up their love of music. I'm not earning a living from my love of music, but it is my hobby, and I've made it work for me. So I think that that's an important an important lesson that just because you're not going to be a rock star, well, some of them are, I'm sure.
Okay.
But they definitely can have a life that revolves around music.
Well, I mean, let me just tell you this. When first year of School of Rock for my kids, they put them through a class that's about the jobs in the music industry. And I have a couple, veteran rock and rollers, and Carl Hines, who was the director of the school at the time, the Portland school. And here I am as a parent. I've worked in the music industry for a long time. Certainly not a rock star, of course, but worked in the industry with retail. And I didn't know these things. But they tell the kids, here's all the jobs that you can have in the music industry that aren't rock star. And here's what they make, right? Here's what the roadie makes. Here's what a tech guy makes. Here's what a producer makes. And they tell the kids, you can have any of these jobs and still be in music. And the coolest thing is they say, oh, look, we went out of focus again. Yeah, fix this damn thing.
You're moving too much.
All right, I'll stop moving.
Calm down.
Then this, you know what it is? We got to get this, come on.
What?
Do your thing. Oh, well, we'll be fuzzy.
All right. You're back.
I got to just finish this. My favorite line was when you look at the list and the number one, the highest paying job in rock and roll outside of rock star is the bus driver. No way. Yep. And all the kids just started giggling and laughing. And it was just like, yeah, but back then, I mean, they quoted an average price of like 70 grand. And the kids were like, holy crap, What a way to be involved in music. So they don't just tell kids go out and be a rock star. They say, just learn and enjoy and be in music. Right?
Or maybe get a franchise, a School of Rock franchise, or or be a music instructor, or just teach somebody something, or
Yeah.
Lots of options. All right, let's bring up a couple more here. Let's see. Here was some more advice. Here we go.
Okay, so more advice from Metal Mike. Follow your heart in what it is that you really want to do.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Also from Metal Mike, don't play in bands you don't love just for something to do. Chisel out and play the music you really love.
Zach Carothers, all musicians aspire to is to inspire others.
Yeah.
That's so
I don't think I quoted him quite right, but that was the gist of it.
Yeah.
An artist, that's what you want. I mean, the fame, the money, the whatever, it comes along with it. But what you want is to have other people be pleased by what you've got and enjoy it. I mean, to inspire.
Right. Going back to the metal mic thing, and let's bring it around for the business owner again, shall we? And branding. What was really interesting was that metal Mike a lot of times said, and I think Jim Peterik reiterated it, Zach probably reiterated it at some point, is that these kids, they really have to find who they are first. He's talking about find your music and go with that rather than playing in all these bands because it's a waste of time. Let's go back to branding. Let's go back to the small business owner. What are we all saying in Plus? The first thing to joining social and to doing anything social, to doing anything with your brand, period, is finding who your brand is, finding who you are. So that piece of advice for these kids, and it's something that I do with my students, and it's something that we're seeing in Plus because we're talking about voicing a brand, is we're all in this place now where we really need to figure out who we are before we can do anything great, before we can do anything successful. And I love that advice. And the cool thing about the School of Rock is that they're giving these kids a really free place to do that. So I just
free as in open.
As in open. Well,
not as in like, hey, all music lessons are free.
I would. No, but they all said the stage was a very free place, to discover yourself, a free place to be who you are. And I don't know, maybe Plus is the brand owner's stage.
Yeah, and that was beautiful. Beautiful way to relate that. The stage is for anyone. The stage is where we get up and perform. We get up and show who we are. Right? These kids, that's where they learn. They're put on that stage, right? And they're put on that stage in bars and venues like every other rock and roll. They get on tour buses. They load and unload their gear. They learn how to do the hard work, right? And they grow and become themselves. Just what Alex said is perfect. Google Plus is the stage for brands. Get up and perform, but show us who you are. Show us who you are.
Yeah, just making it relevant to everybody. That's what I do.
That's perfect.
That's a good idea. All right, I'm going to bring up some more here.
Awesome.
Let's see. I should have pinned them, but I've got them now. Here. Okay. Here's a good one that I liked.
This was
yes,
seriously like
great.
The best quote ever. The best quote ever. Oh man.
Did you read it?
No, it was Zach Carothers. If you play a wrong note, play it twice.
And loud. And loud.
Yeah. That was just, I was just like, that is genius. And actually, like, when I think back to, I never go to concerts because I'm horrible at, like, I don't do well in the concert environment. I'm not good with crowds. But I love seeing, like, small bands in, like house bands, like small bands in any sort of, like, bar. That's really the only reason I go to bars. And there are times where I hear, like, I'm like, oh, that sounded weird. And then I'll hear them play it again, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's just how the song is. Okay.
Hey, we've got a special lady in the audience right now.
Great.
Mia! Hey, Mia, how's it going?
Rock out with your sock out.
Rock out with your sock out.
All right, here, we'll take care of that.
I don't have socks on.
I'm rocking out with my sock out. Right there. There you go. This sock. Right?
And what you were just saying, Alex, here's Metal Mike again. He said it's like the Lady Gaga song, you've got to keep the poker face. Many people don't even know when things go wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely.
When he said that, Colleen Bell from the School of Rock was sitting over here, and I started laughing, and she looked at me because when we were in the adult School of Rock band, Linda and me and a bunch of other families at the Portland School, we did a song, and I played the entire song. I was so nervous, one key off the whole way. And I could look at the crowd, and everybody had this weird face on, and I couldn't cry. We were all smiling and playing. Must have sounded like shit, but hey.
Hey, you got to fix your camera again. You're blurred out again.
I know. I don't know what the deal is with this guy. I really don't.
All right, so let's move on. So we had it. We got some awesome quotes. We got some I mean, the interviews were unbelievable. You guys did a great job. I can't wait to watch it again and do some clips from it. But then we brought in a special guest from the UK. We brought in Sue and Lee Aston. And they're a lovely family, and along with Dan and Phil, they're actually going to be playing today on My Music Hangout at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. But this was so special because it was Lee's very first music hangout. And here he came on and he played for 3 rock stars. And I want you guys to talk about that.
Oh gosh.
Do you want to do it?
You start. I mean.
Oh, you got to unblur though.
I know we got to unblur. Technical.
Gotta see your pretty faces.
Let me see if I can swap out the camera,
Yeah, maybe
okay?
I should swap out the camera. But I'll talk about it for a bit. Linda's not here to get me yet. Well, really, I mean, Christine, you orchestrated most of that. There we go. There you go.
Well, I'll just stay off the shot.
It's you. It just doesn't want to see you right now. So it was so. I'll talk about it from our perspective because I got to really see the judges' responses to it. The minute that they started playing, it was so funny. You know, rock stars, they've been around loud music for a really long time. So Jim gets up and he gets close to the computer where the sound is coming out of, and he's just standing there like this the whole time, and Zach is kind of leaning in like this, and then we have Metal Mike just sitting there thinking about it, and it was so cool to just see their facial expressions, and you see Jim look up and he's like, they're really good, and then he just goes back and he listens to it, and it was just so cool to see them and their responses to someone else playing music. And it was Jim that said it. I said it yesterday. I don't know if I said it on air though. Jim was like, before they started playing, Jim was like, I've never had this happen to me. And I was like, oh, you've never been on internet TV? He's like, no, I've never had someone play for me.
Yeah.
And that right there, I mean, that is just so. It's so cool. It's so cool to see that, and I'm sure the Aston family. I mean, poor things. They stayed up until 2 a.m. to do this.
No.
Yep. They did it specially. They did it specially for them, and I just can't imagine what Lee is feeling right now. I really.
You know what I think is really cool. I mean, yes, we would love to get those guys, those rock stars, to play for us here on My Music Hangout, but isn't it cool that instead of asking them to do that, we had someone from My Music Hangout play for them, like you said, and treat them like they're always the ones having to perform. Like I bet this whole weekend for them has probably been just a real treat.
Yeah, and it's actually a brilliant idea, Christine. I think this is something we can work on with the School of Rock down the road. I love the idea of bringing in School of Rock stars and all of the people that work with the School of Rock, and you bringing us from the internet, from My Music Hangout. Just, I love it. It was just so cool. I mean, Jim also said after the whole show, I've never experienced anything like that before. Not just having somebody play for me, but the entire concept of what we're doing here, right?
Right.
And it is so new, and it is so delicate right now, but yes, it was magic. Everybody at the School of Rock feels that way. It was just the most beautiful thing. What did Linda say? She made a statement that was very incredible. She said, moments like, she was telling Jim.
It's a magical moment.
Yeah. She told Jim Peterik, moments like these are like when a baby is born, right? They're just magical like that. And, it's true. You thank you for making that happen, and thank Phil and his family.
Thank you guys too. And yeah, I cannot wait to. I can only imagine that they probably didn't go to sleep at all last night. They were probably too excited, and now they have the show today. And I know Lee was already tweeting this morning. He was tweeting to Zach Carothers. He's like so excited.
Right. Right. That's incredible. That's awesome. I'm gonna check some lighting. More
Okay,
stuff.
speaking of that, so we have them coming up, and I'm going to try something I've never tried before, and I'm sure it's probably been done, but I don't know. I'm going to try to simulcast it, the Aston Family Hangout, because we already have an event page for them. So I'm going, and we have the Gemba event page, and Linda has said it's okay to, to embed them, and you guys said you're okay with it. So I'm going to see if I can put the link there, so, if people show up here where they're watching right now on the event page, or, if they show up on the Aston Family event page, they should see the concert.
Great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it should totally work. The way that I've done it, like, because I've had issues with glass in the class, the way that I've done it is I take the YouTube link and I just put it in the YouTube link area.
Yep.
And it seems to work fine. So it should be great. I'm so excited for the Aston family. Like they're so loved on Plus. They deserve anything. And I just have to say, Sue has the sweetest voice.
She does. I know.
Like I couldn't see her last night, but I was just like, I just want to reach in and hug you. Like, you sound adorable. It was great. It was just so great having them, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen with them in the future. I think they have something really special.
I do too. I really do. All right, so then tonight you guys are going out today, and you're going to try to capture some more footage, and and then what's the plan? We're coming back on sometime this evening, probably be pretty late, right?
Yeah, around 9:30. Are you still going to take swag and just go down there and...
Yeah. So the goal is, and anyone that's watching this, and we can push this out, I was going to do this yesterday. I'm going to bring as much swag as I can. I'm going to wear some of it. I was wearing a bunch of it yesterday, and some guy was like, "Why do you have so many bracelets?" I was like, "Just don't even ask." But I'll bring bags. I'll bring
we got
I'll bring a bunch of these sunglasses. They come in different colors. We got bags. We got
water bottles.
We got water bottles. So I'm just gonna bring a bunch of this with me.
We might have some shirts too. We're not sure. We're looking for the box of shirts.
We're hoping.
We had a whole box of shirts.
We did. We don't know where they went. But if anyone out there finds me, come find me. I'm going to make you take a picture with me and then say something awesome about the School of Rock, and then you get yourself some School of Rock swag.
Yeah.
That easy.
And she'll also have glass for as long as it'll stay charged and functional. And what we're planning on doing there is any of the School of Rock kids, come find Alex. You put on the glass. We'll work with bring a buddy, and you can take pictures. Use the glass and take a picture of you with Alex or anywhere you want on the ground. So we're trying to do that stuff today. I'll be here gathering material, gathering all the stuff that Alex collects at Gemba, and joining you in the Aston Family Hangout later on. And then later on tonight we'll broadcast. I will go down to you'll be at BMO stage from 4 p.m. on anyway, all day today, because this is the finals. 5 to 7 tonight are the finals, and we'll both be down there capturing that footage, and then we'll hightail it back here to do a hangout.
And the goal is 9 p.m. Central Time, but we don't want to make that a hard time quite yet, because you never know.
It's rock and roll, so who knows. But yeah, so if anybody's looking to find footage that's already been captured or later this week, go to the My Music Hangout channel on YouTube. I've created playlists, so you can, all the parents have been uploading videos and tagging it with Gemba 2014, so go look there. Also, in the event page here, there are some links, and they'll be on YouTube as well, to like the Rebel Mouse page, which is feeding in Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything. So there's there's lots of footage out there. There's lots of pictures. There's lots of pictures of happy kids, which is very cool.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. Alex and I have stayed in the dorms with the kids for the last, couple nights, and it's just been awesome. down in Marquette University. Wisconsin is cool. We had no idea what this place was like. You got to come up here for the next one because this is really cool, Christine.
Oh, I definitely want to.
This place is cool. So I'm glad. And just do a shout out. Anybody that's here on ground, tell them how to keep posting images. Give them that again.
Yep, just post them anywhere, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, here on Google+. Just hashtag with Gemba 2014, and we will find it. And we will be pulling it in to the live feed that we're doing tonight. John has this, the cool live stream technology that I love how it shows the tweet, right on the screen the way it does, and I mean it's like so professional. It's very cool.
It's as close as we can get for rock and roll, Christine.
All right, well I think that's it. You guys go out there and get some footage, and well John, I'll ping you in when we're ready with the Aston family, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, Christine.
Bye, guys.
Okay, everybody. Have a great day.
Rock and roll. Devil Orange, people. Come on, rock and roll.
Right. Colleen taught me to do this.
There you go.
I don't know what I mean, but to do this.